Aussie.
And we are live. And yes, Musical Aviator, we may as well call it Happy Foreign Criminals Come to Australia in Leaky Wooden Boats Day. Because, yeah, that makes as much sense as anything. But it can be fun to wind up racist tools on a day like today, when they think they're being reasonable and they're just being racist tools. The sort of self-delusion a lot of people have is quite fascinating, in all honesty. What are you going to do, though? What are you going to do? Just looking at, I think StreamYard made a couple of small changes. Nothing that dramatic. Okay, that can be a block. Well, that's called minimal style. That's the default. Yeah, kind of like the bubble for some reason. Going with the bubble. They've done that. Oh, right, banners. That's what that is. Kind of forgot. Because I don't use a lot of the features on StreamYard, so I occasionally forget what some of them are, and I have to look it up. But that's okay. That's just one of those things. And as I had public holiday today, I don't normally do a live stream on Monday nights, being TV night with Mrs. Angry. I almost did last night just because, well, could have a bit of a party because of the public holiday, but I didn't. So just have an average kind of night tonight, because I have to wake up for work tomorrow. Oh, geez, I tell you what, every now and then I think about, God, this working from home paradise probably has to end sometime. Not looking forward to that. Really like working from home. The idea of just commuting every day sucks so much. So very, very much. But these things are sent to try us, I guess. And on the scale of things, in this big wide world of ours, complaining about being employed is a relatively self-indulgent thing to complain about. So try not to. Musical Aviator, you were going to go on a little plane flying. Clouds at 600 feet or 200 meters, yeah. Visibility dropped 4 kilometers. Yeah, a couple of unnecessary risks in there, I guess. And I completely understand your decision to go, I shan't do that. I shall not do that. So, yes. I'm trying to think of famous people. Yeah, like JFK Jr. crashed his plane into the side of it's more of a hill than a mountain, flying in cloudy weather. Bit of a blow to the Democratic Party, because I think JFK Jr. would have been president by now if he wasn't dead, That was one of the weirder QAnon conspiracies, that JFK Jr. is actually still alive and was going to make an appearance. And none of their shit ever comes true. Hey, Hellion, hello, Kirsten. Nice to see you. Pretty much all day. It is, of course, Tuesday, but having had this public holiday and I'm going to work tomorrow, it feels like Sunday. Which I was going to say super weird. Super weird's probably an exaggeration. It's weird though. It is definitely weird. And it's not just me. Mrs. Angry confirms she's basically had the feeling all day that it was Sunday as well. So I guess public holidays do that to you. When they're on odd days of the week, it's just like, is it Sunday? I don't know. But this is what it is. I notice lots of people went to Invasion Day marches today, which is nice to see. I didn't because I still avoid large groups of people. Oh no, Kirsten, you finished your Nova today. Time for replenishment of supplies. Kirsten, you hate the midweek public holidays. Do they throw you out of whack? Make life all very confusing? I know I feel that way sometimes. Midweek public holidays are just confusing. Oh, nice. Good day, though. Didn't put on pants or leave the house. That is the mark of a pretty good day, quite honestly. I've been burping all day. Gassy. Gassy. Is it gassy, Marge? Is it gassy? Oh, just a little bit. Oh, shit. Is that my imagination, or is Dan's doing a good member offer on Nova, or is that my imagination? What's the normal price for Nova whiskey? Tell me about whiskey. Nova. Gold Medal Award winner, San Francisco World Spirit Awards. Yeah, boy. Okay. Yeah, Nova 96. $80 at Dan's. I suppose that's an average specialty. And I know that that's kind of actually a bit harsh on the maker to do that. Kirsten, I love that one. Husband is away, so this mouse acted like a rat. Ooh, I think if we're going to go to Starwood in 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, I might save up and buy something on the tour there. Hellshade, hello. Good evening to you. Because I just feel compelled. If we're going to visit distilleries, I'm getting something. I am getting something from the distilleries. Haven't decided what yet, but I think something to add to my... Yeah, that's what I thought, Kirsten. That $80 is good, but not out of this world special. Like the one that they possibly did accidentally that time, and it was like $30 off. Annette, hello. Good evening to you. Well, and that's the other question, Kirsten. If we're going to visit those distilleries, are those things we have to book into, or do we just rock up, as it were? A little bit of time to prepare for that. So I'm going to use Big Really Gauche and use this spoon to scratch up my back. I'm not very flexible, and I can't reach down between my shoulder blades. You have booked. Okay. What have you booked is the big question. Kathleen on Facebook, howdy. How are you this fine evening? Assuming it is both fine and evening where you are, because those are two very subjective things that I just said. I have no actual way of knowing at this point whether it is evening or fine where you are. But I'm like that, very self-centered. I just speak in terms of what I am experiencing because I'm a terrible person. Managed to burn my finger on a baking thing when I was cooking today, but that's my trials and travails. That's fine. Now, on Celtic Kings on Twitch, I'm fine. AD, I'm kind of assuming is okay. I haven't heard from him since Saturday, when I actually caught up with him in person, and he was in fine form. So that was good that he actually got out and out. Kathleen, for you, it's the wee hours of the morning. Which part of this globe are you on? You're working on a tour of Starwood. Kirsten, we've booked a table at Patient Wolf. How many persons is that for? So I'm just thinking about, which of us are going, if everyone needs to make bookings, or if you're making one booking allowing for a group. Celtic King AZ is probably okay. Like I said, he was in quite fine form on Saturday, but I have not heard from him since then, so I'm not really sure. Kathleen's in Pacific Northwest, USA. So this is where I ask when I get someone from your time zone. Are you a night owl, an insomniac, or an early riser? Okay, so it's a group booking. Do we have to tell them hard numbers? Because I don't know if actually finalized numbers. If it's you, husband, Abigail, Annette, me, and Mrs. Angry, it's like 6. Is that good? I don't know. Sorry. If I vague out, it is because I don't know. I'm feeling a bit vague. I'm a bit tired, but I should be okay. Being taking it really easy, so we'll just see how I go tonight, and see what is what in this marvelous online world of ours. Did anything interesting happen today? Oh yeah, after initial threats from the cops, or you're not allowed to have more than 500 people at an event, and 1,000 showed up. The cops just went, yeah, we're not doing anything, because it's a peaceful crowd. And I think most of them were wearing masks as well, except little fascist Avi Yemeni, the wife beater, and apparently someone who identified as a Proud Boy got detained by police. So, yeah. Oh, news is saying there were arrests. Oh, that's at Sydney. So, okay, news, Murdoch's fucking hack outfit is trying to say there was Oh, I did see this video in Canberra. Some MAGA idiot tried to cause some shit, and 3 Indigenous bikers just shoved him back into his car and said, "Fuck off," and off he went. So saying there were some arrests in Sydney. That's interesting. New South Wales Police negotiated with the organisers to divide the crowd into socially distanced groups of less than 500 people, and a planned march was cancelled. That's interesting. 5 people were arrested, including an 18-year-old Top Hill man for breaching the peace. In other words, a racist fuckwit got arrested. Yeah. So, geez, that's not many, is it? I do love in Melbourne, Avi Yemeni and a Proud Boy got fucked over. Hey, Sunbear, how are you? Having a somber day of reflection. Hellshade, you are also in the States with 4:15 a.m. Oh, excellent, Kirsten. Thank you for making those bookings, by the way. So, Kathleen, your sleep thing, if you go to bed at 11, you're always awake at 3. So then you wait till after 3 to go to bed. If it works, it works, I say. Yeah. Yes, Glee, the 2 arrested in Melbourne, both are right-wing activists, did get a laugh. I'm not sure they were even actually arrested. They may have just been sort of, the police say detained. Basically, the police take them out because they're causing trouble and then just say, off you fuck. And one of them was little Avi Yemeni, the extreme right-wing Zionist who, for some reason, pals around with Nazis. And you say that, and he'll get really upset. And then you can furnish a whole bunch of photos of him palling around with people who are known to have swastika tattoos. And he knows that because he's a piece of shit. Multiple convictions for violence against women as well. And he has, when you see the sorts of videos he makes, he has somewhat of a propensity to target and antagonize children. Like, he's fucking creepy. He's fucking creepy. And I don't really think it's hyperbole to call him dangerous as well. I don't think I'm gonna have a little beverage. I've been drinking. This is my mandarin juice and lemonade, and it's very refreshing. I would say. I was making some. I don't know if I explained this in another live stream. I was making some concoctions that are for cocktails. It's kind of a sugar syrup, kind of a sweet and sour mix, kind of a cordial that involved me peeling some citrus, then covering them in sugar and leaving them overnight, and the sugar like leaches the citrus oils out of the peel, turns into glop, and then you, for a normal sugar syrup that you call an oleosaccharum, you add water to this glop to make it a bit more liquid. And then you've got this really nice citrusy sugar syrup to use in cocktails. What I did was follow another recipe I found. Instead of adding sugar, I added fruit juice. So one that was peel of mandarin and oranges, and so I added a bit of mandarin juice and a bit of orange juice to that, and made syrup out of that. And then milk clarified that. And so that's got this really sherbety tasting syrup now that I'm going to make some drinks with. And I did the same with lemon and lime. Ooh, Annette, you've been experimenting, and Mando liqueur and Ocar Tropic with ordinary Prosecco tastes bad. So we got to stick in with the in-house Ocar products. Is that the tip, or I suppose the Unico Zello product to go with the Ocar? I'm not a fan of Prosecco and similar. I almost never use them. The closest I usually come to using wines is vermouths. So I'm not. So yeah, I was looking at, because I'm making some things. What am I running out of? I've got Annette, the Bitters Lab might be a good source where you can just physically go and get it. I don't know. It'd be worth checking before going in there, but they sometimes have it. I've got, see, the two must-haves in my collection, as far as I'm concerned. Ocar Gold, which I've been using a fair bit of, so I've got about, I don't know, a quarter of a bottle. Is that less than a quarter of a bottle? I'll let it go down a bit more before I order some more, I think. And the Mac. Again, that's what, about a sixth of a bottle left. It's like, about 20% of the bottle left. In both cases, it's probably about, I think it's about, I got about a quarter of the Ocar Gold and 20% of the Mac left. Don't like to run out of them because they're really yummy, and if you're just in the mood for them and you don't have them, it's a real downer. Real Debbie downer. Sorry, I'm just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Hellshade, in the US, right-wingers are always claiming the left is fine. Yeah, actual statistics prove that the real danger is the right-wingers. And in fact, even in America, law enforcement seems to be waking up to them. Oh, yeah, Kirsten. Oh, my God. You broadened my horizons so much in 2020. Changed my world. No one seems to know what Petnat Fiano is. Yeah, Petnat became, which is a type of wine, became really trendy in the last year or so, apparently. Again, I'm not a wine drinker, so I'm not into it, but I've seen constant references to Petnat for the last year or so. It became really trendy. So, well, that's a thing. Yeah, because I think when the Ocar Gold runs down, I'll not just order more Ocar Gold. I will. That's right, Applewood. my brain blanked on who makes it again. Applewood. That's their name. So I'll probably make it with me while with the order, and get something extra. Like I'm definitely keen on the Mando. Definitely keen to get the Mando. I think that makes some fun drinks. And the Tropic sounds really interesting as well. Crafted from Polish Hill River, which I assume is a wine, and fortified with unused spirit from our distillery. aromatized with oranges to create a vibrant tropical cousin to vermouth, otherwise known as a Mistel. Yeah, vermouth alternatives are pretty good. I think I might get Tropic as well. Annette seems pretty sold on Tropic. Oh, yeah, sorry, yes, limoncello. I actually have the limoncello, and it is the it's the best limoncello I've tasted. It's fucking brilliant. The applewood limoncello, it's just like lemon and honey. It's, oh my god, it's so good. So, but I haven't drunk that much of that, so I've got plenty of limoncello. So I want to try the Mando for variety, and yeah, Annette seems sold on the Tropic. So yeah, vermouth alternative sounds like a good idea. I've actually almost worked my way through the Unico Zello Yuzu vermouth, but I have another sweet vermouth. I have a Made Nice sweet vermouth, so I wasn't immediately going to get more of the Yuzu. But yeah, I might get the Tropic as an alternative, actually. Sounds kind of yum. Here we are talking booze. I have to admit, when Apple would bring out limited editions, they catch my attention. Like the trio they brought out recently, lemon aspen, kakadu plum, and bush apple, definitely caught my attention. But I'm not a serious gin drinker like Kirsten, so I'm not that sold on it. Noog, hey, how you going? That sounds like a fun website, Annette. You found a wine called 2020 Wildman Wine Piggy Pop Pet Nat. Yes, they've gone a bit wacky with wines, and that's been a trend for, I don't know, about 10 years. But I noticed beers have gone really weird and wacky in the last maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. Again, not being a beer drinker, I don't really keep a pace of it. But there seems to be super weird beer flavors everywhere and with really wacky names and wacky packaging. Dang. I always assume that they piss serious beer drinkers off, but I don't know. Yeah, and they did the native trilogy. There's a lemon aspen gin, a kakadu plum gin, and a bush apple gin. And separate to that, they have a couple other limited editions, a macadamia gin and a Muntry gin, which is another fruit-based one. But I'm not that serious a gin drinker, so as much as I was intrigued, I didn't feel particularly compelled to get them. So that Kirsten cocktail they made at Bad Frankie's with rye and drop sounds amazing. So many good ones. Yeah, Kirsten, I actually reckon you're right. I reckon that wacky packaging of those beers really does skirt alcohol advertising lines because it really, really looks like it's targeted at kids. Looks like it's meant to be appealing to kids. And it's got the good question for you, Kirsten. Who is doing Posh Aussie gins? She really liked the Kakadu plum. What gin recommendations are top of your list these days from our many fine local producers? I got to tell you, I was really tempted to get because I got an offer in an email from Archie Rose for their canned cocktails. They're like doing 4 packs of the canned cocktails at special rates. It was quite tempting. But I have a lot of things to drink, so I thought, oh, I don't really need canned cocktails. Oh my God, is there new packaging for UDL, Kirsten? UDL packaging. Oh, what? Okay, I just looked up and I'm betting this is what you're talking about. UDL watermelon in a can is the first one that popped up. And I swear to God, it looks like fruit poppers. It absolutely looks like fruit poppers. The packaging. They're not in fruit popper packages, but Jesus. Hello, Shieldsy and Shannon. How y'all doing? Yes, Stella, another good name for the day. Happy Aboriginals and convicts weren't happy on the day anniversary. Yes. Scotty from marketing is such a fucking moron. Honestly, his big excuse for, why should people celebrate a day that was the day of the beginning of attempted genocide of Indigenous Australians? He goes, well, it wasn't a real flash day for the people on the boats either. So why celebrate it, you dense motherfucker? You did not give a reason to celebrate the day, you fuckwit. You gave another reason to not celebrate the day, you blathering fucking moron. Angry bunch, Shannon. Why not? And you've got to get out of the house. Yes. Why are you out of the house on the weekend? Would you? Things are a bit stressful, are they? And hello, Fox. Yeah, Fox was looking at the reports of arrests earlier. I think there was a total of 5 arrests in Sydney. At least one was a racist troublemaker. 4 others may have been part of the protest. That was a little bit unclear. No, that was the thing Scotty from marketing actually said when people said, why do you expect people to celebrate the day that marked the beginning of an invasion and attempted genocide of Indigenous people? And Scotty went, well, it wasn't a real flash day for the people on the boats either, because he's a fucking moron. He's an absolute... Oh, Annette, I don't think you need a reason. Need to blow off steam? I absolutely don't think you need a reason. I almost feel like doing another shopping trip. Go over your side of town, doing another shopping trip to the Bitters Lab, quite honestly. Oh, cool. Shannon got a friend. Well, okay. Sorry, let's do Angry Bunch anyway, because I feel like I haven't done it for ages. All right. Yeah, okay, idiot. Copy the actual link if you want to do that. Copied. Let's have Solidarity Day. There you go. There is the link for anyone who feels like joining in. So I'm pretty sure Scotty is a really proud colonial suckhole. I think Scotty is a slavish worshipper of the colonizer myths, and really proud of his fucking ignorance, quite honestly, because he's a piece of shit. Grasshopper, hello.
How are we?
Good, man. How you doing?
Not too badly. Not too badly. Sick of having
Good.
to explain to people why we want to change the date and why it's an important thing that we change the date, but it is a good day nonetheless.
Good. And Fox, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Birdie.
Foxy. How you doing, darling?
Pretty good.
That is good. So, yeah, the news reports that apparently people got arrested in the city.
Yes.
Yes.
And they were like being completely peaceful.
Look, cops being cops, you're super lucky if they don't arrest 100 people who are being super peaceful. And to be fair, all of the events, and Shields saying he was not sure why they didn't hoe into them in Brisbane as well because of the size of the crowds. And it's because the cops have just gone, well, this is like lose-lose really badly. If we try and break this up, it goes south super fucking quick. So, and again, because it wasn't, like for comparison, like George Christensen, the vilest fucking cunt in Australian politics, it's going like, oh, well, I noticed when those patriots wanted to protest against Nazi Dan's limitations, they got arrested. And it's like, they were fuckwits. They were violent. They were also like not masked, not socially distancing, and they were doing it at the peak of the infections in Melbourne. There's no virus in the community in Melbourne. And these crowds, the overwhelming majority were wearing masks and went along with the cops when the cops said things like, well, okay, could you break into like groups in the park of less than 500 people and keep it? And they went, yeah, okay. And so basically, as much as the cops tried to talk people out of doing it, when people just went and fucking did it anyway, the cops wisely went, well, there's not a huge amount we can do here without this turning into a disaster. And again, because it was a well-behaved crowd and it was a crowd that was into the idea of social distancing and wearing masks, etc., you'd have to be a worthless fucking piece of shit like Christensen to try and draw parallels to the absolute fucking cunts who did those anti-lockdown protests.
The anti-maskers and the anti-lockdown people, completely different fucking breed of moron.
They are morons, yes.
That were pulling off that protest. The protest today, from what I've heard, especially about the one in Sydney anyway, when they were organising the protest, they were saying very clearly on the event pages and whatnot, social distancing, wear masks, bring hand sanitizer if you can, follow all of the appropriate social distancing rules, and try and get our point across. They were being completely non-violent. They weren't even stopping traffic, from what I understand, and they were still getting bloody arrested. And it's fucking Scotty from fucking marketing and what he said, and it's just like, I think it's about 4 times today I've had to explain to people that Australia Day isn't about when Captain Cook landed on Australian shores. It's about when Captain Arthur Phillip raised the flag and claimed Australia as the fucking Queen's land. And, basically then started the mass incarceration, torture, rape, and murder of the Indigenous fucking peoples.
Yeah. All right, adding Kirsten. Hello.
Hey, Queen.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
I'm good. I'm just hanging out. I have to go off and tend to my dinner in a minute, but
I already had
thought
dinner.
I was
that's okay.
I made a chicken.
Hello.
And it was delicious.
Hello.
So that's a new fridge that you've got behind you there, Angry.
Yes, it is.
Have you not noticed
Angry
my new
should
fridge
start
before?
taking a shot every time somebody mentions his new fridge.
Yeah, no. I'd get alcohol poisoning. Everyone, in most streams, someone brings it up. So,
Hey, Angry, is that a new fridge behind you?
It's the first time I've noticed it. Okay.
It's only been a week. I got the new fridge last Monday.
So why the new fridge? Like, needed more space, or the old one was dying, or?
A little from column A, a little from column B, and also this one's much more energy efficient. It's much bigger and much cheaper to run than the other one. So win-win there. And yes, all is good in the world. I have a flash new fridge with lots of room in it.
And somebody tried to get ice out of an ice bucket, it sounds like, in the background.
Oh, no, there's actually some dinner, because, you all know I'm doing this from the kitchen. There's just some dinner being made on the other side. So,
and what's the dinner for you tonight?
For me, actually, I was feeling really uninspired, and we got takeaway from the Italian place, Etto's. They do quite good pasta, and I got a pizza and some garlic bread as well. Big thing for the family. Everyone's ordering their own pastas, and you can order big ones. They call it Goliath size. You're sort of upsizing the pastas, and then you've got enough for like 2 or 3 meals, depending on how hungry you are. So it's like dinner tonight and lunch and possibly even dinner tomorrow night sorted, essentially. So
when my wife was working at Westpac, she would usually take dinner leftovers into work the next day for lunch. And she'd chuck it in the microwave to heat it up at lunch. And apparently the smells that waft through the kitchen, everybody's kind of looking at it with their mouth watering, going, "Where did you get that food?" And she's like, "Oh, my husband cooked it." Where did you get your husband?
Yes.
So
Oh
my
my
husband has relocated to Melbourne for 3 months, and he needs to finish off some work things. We knew it was coming. I'm pretty sad about it anyway.
Yeah.
The issue is that he has been the person feeding me for 10 years, and I haven't had to consistently feed myself 3 times a day in a responsible fashion. So I got a text message today that said, "When was the last time you ate a vegetable?" And I couldn't tell him immediately.
Oof.
So I have to make broccolini.
Kind of reminds me of that old ad, the old Lean Cuisine ad. "Yes, Mum, I am cooking proper for myself," and they eat it Lean Cuisine,
I just want to go bloody light and easy, quality food, and sort of very much increase my vegetable intake if I'm eating light and easy, because it's all just there and you microwave it and, oh, look, it's really yummy. But yeah, I mean, a mushroom's a vegetable, isn't it? I put a mushroom on a pizza. That was a vegetable.
I've eaten mushrooms and cherry tomatoes because our cherry tomato bush is actually fruiting at the moment, which is very funny because it gave us 2 tomatoes before husband left, and they were his tomato plants. So he's real mad about the fact that I'm eating all the cherry tomatoes. But anyway.
Musical Elevator said in the...
he also gets to live in a hotel. So we're
all right, so
he's
in a hotel for 3 months in Melbourne. All right.
So is he there for the full 3 months, or is he just doing a, what do you call it? Self-quarantine?
No, he's moving into a hotel. He's done his self-quarantine. He's got his negative test. Good to go out.
Right.
He's just moving from one hotel to another hotel.
Yeah. Musical Elevator
Because funnily enough,
in
hotels are renting out by the month, which just works for people who are trying to move in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, because there ain't no casual people in hotels at the moment.
Not really. Musical Elevator said, "I was in primary school in '88, a Botany Bay primary school. School motto, our best endeavor. Did multiple terms on First Fleet history. First excursion was tank stream. I guess others didn't." For me, when I was in primary school musical, we did some history on the First Fleet, but the way that we were taught the First Fleet that I didn't realize at the time, but as an adult I've come to realize, was this really romanticized beautiful thing about how Captain Cook apparently discovered Australia, and we were bringing convicts over here, and then we figured out that treating the convicts the way that we were was wrong or whatever, and after they served their time they were given land and blah blah blah, like this really fucking romantic ideal of what it was actually like, and never once were the words stolen generation ever muttered. The words of Indigenous Australians and the impacts upon them was ever muttered, and I think that that's the big problem that we've got when it comes to the education around Australia Day and the First Fleet and all of these sorts of different things. As I said before, Australia Day isn't a celebration of the day that Captain Cook actually landed in Australia. It's a celebration of when Captain Arthur Phillip raised the bloody British flag. That's the issue. And so many people just seem to be completely oblivious to this fucking fact, and it drives me absolutely bananas.
Years ago, up to and including the Prime Minister. Like, he was going to... and I think they did go ahead and do it, was going to waste millions, if not tens of millions of dollars on some stupid thing of recreating Cook's circumnavigation of Australia with a replica of the Endeavour. A
Yeah.
thing Cook never did. Scotty's all like, yeah, we're spending these millions of dollars on this thing. You know, it's going to inspire people. It's going to be a tall ship. And it's going to be Cook circumnavigating Australia. A thing Cook did not do. And it's just like, fucking hell. The Liberal Party, particularly since John Howard, they've been very bad for just lying, for absolutely doing their culture war bullshit and going like, no, Australia Day, Anzac Day has to be about slavish jingoism, absolute worship, no uncomfortable questions, no questioning of imperialism, no questioning about genocide. It's just like, get fucked.
Hey, man.
Don't question the establishment. Don't question what's already been told to you.
Yeah, that's it.
The
Yeah,
thing that
remain in the indoctrination.
has only sort of come to my consciousness this year was that Australia Day was only really a thing since '94, which was the year that I arrived in the country. And I've only been here for 2/3 of my life, which means that it's not actually that ingrained in the culture. Like,
yes.
As I've like, so many people are like, oh, so what's the solution then? What's the solution? And the solution is so fucking simple. Change the date and talk to the to the Aboriginal people, the Indigenous Australians, and the Indigenous Parliament members, and say, okay, what date should we move this to? And make that the fucking public holiday, and talk to the Indigenous communities about what do you guys want for our celebrations of Australia Day, and have their fucking input into it, and everything could be sorted. It's such a simple fucking solution.
Yeah, and particularly none of the things they say make any sense. As Kirsten was saying, it's only been a unified public holiday since '94. For the rest of the 20th century, different states declared different public holidays on different days and called them Australia Day. So there is no tradition behind it. All this, it's got to be tradition. There is no tradition. There's this really weird lie that the fuckwits have started circulating this year, and they're like, "Oh, it's all tied to the Citizenship Act of 1940 something, which was declared on the." And it's like so patently not true. It's like you literally just invented this year. That is the year that the citizenship rules changed. It was the first time foreign nationals who made a pledge of allegiance were pledging to be Australian citizens, not subjects of the Crown. Except they still were subjects of the Crown. But yeah, there was a change to the Immigration Act, and it wasn't. They didn't go around blessing every Australian household saying, "You are now dinky die cobber Aussies, not British." It was literally changing what foreigners who were asking for citizenship did. They changed the pledge so they were pledging to be Australian citizens, not British subjects. And one of these idiots has latched onto it this year, and it's been circulating. I've seen it multiple times, saying like, no, it's about togetherness. It's about when we threw off the British. No, you fucking made saying that for decades. But someone invented it this year, and the rest of you fucking morons repeat it like the fucking morons you are. And it's just like, for fuck's sake.
Speaking of boomers forwarding each other on things on Facebook, I have had to play whack-a-mole with a bunch of relatives on like QAnon shit.
Oh,
and I was just like, come on, guys. First of all, you are educated, you live in Australia, and this is internet bullshit. And then they wanted to get in on it with me, and I was like, no, this is debunked. Like, this is garbage.
It reminds me of that thing that happened with Ted Cruz just recently. Sorry, Queen. Where Joe Biden signed the executive order to get America back into the Paris Agreement, and
that was funny.
Ted Cruz basically said, "Oh, why are we capitulating to the people of Paris?" And it's like, you are aware that this isn't a fucking deal made with the citizens of Paris, right?
I love the joke. Sorry, Kirsten, go.
The problem is that he isn't aware, and that's the issue.
What did you?
It's that level
yeah, and
stupidity that allows like the same lies that we've been talking about Australia Day to go around and for people to actually believe it. It's that kind of cognitive dissonance, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
there's definitely cognitive dissonance there.
Absolutely. I love the jokes that spun off that dumb Ted Cruz line. Like, because the other thing, one of the other things Biden did was to pledge to rejoin the World Health Organization because Trump, in the middle of a global pandemic, decided he shouldn't be in the World Health Organization. And like after Cruz said, "Oh, the Paris Agreement's just about the people in Paris," someone said, I hear Ted Cruz has objected to rejoining WHO because that only benefits Doctor Who. And it's just like, he's not even from Earth.
Yeah, no, it's I love the American populace right now where Biden is concerned. One of the things that Trump implemented that was actually necessary was a bit of a travel ban based on COVID. So it was like, for a lot of European people and stuff like that, they weren't allowed to come into America and all of that. And just before he left office, he, for some reason, wanted to lift those restrictions completely. And Biden has re-implemented those restrictions and actually strengthened them and made it so that people from South Africa, for instance, and stuff like that also can't come over until they get on top of this. And he's done so much more about the vaccines. And all of a sudden, America is in this steady decline of daily cases of COVID. Their death rate is still really high, but they're at this steady decline of COVID reinfection or COVID fucking spreading. And already the fucking Fox News and your idiots over in America are already saying, "Oh, this is because of the vaccine that Trump did through Operation Turbocharge, blah, blah, blah."
Mm.
And it's like, no, this has got a lot to do with Biden actually making masks mandatory in a lot of fucking places. This is Biden strengthening fucking, like doing what, for instance, Daniel Andrews did in Melbourne, where he was like, no, this is getting out of control, hard the fuck lockdown until we get on top of this shit.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Biden, because of the weird way their laws work with the states and whatnot, there's quite a limit on what he can do. He's definitely like mandating masks and saying you should wear them every time you're out of the house. Can only actually pass a law that if you're on federal property, you have to do it. And you've got all those idiot Republican state governors who are still 400,000 dead, and they're still acting like
it's more
not
like
real.
4,500, 450,000.
Right now,
so many.
The American death toll from COVID-19 is greater than that of the American death toll from World War II. COVID-19 has been around 1 year. World War II went for 5 and a bit. Okay, so that in and of itself is a sobering fucking reminder of how infectious and deadly this fucking disease really is. And there is still a ton of Americans who, your fucking Trump mouth breathers, hey,
Eddie.
your Trump mouth breathers and whatnot, basically going, oh, it's just like a bad flu, or it's not that infectious, or it's not a real thing, or we still need to open up the economy, or like all of the various bullshit arguments that they've got against this. And it's like the fucking dissonance is mind-blowingly horrible. And to those wondering behind me, that's a good friend of mine by the name of Lena, who's having to lie down because she got bugger all sleep last night, the poor thing. And she's watching the live stream on her mobile phone behind us.
I was waving. Hello.
Didn't she appear behind you last time you were on Grasshopper?
Yeah. Lena was next to me the last time I was on. Yeah.
Okay, the cutie got it.
Yep, and
her
fiance
this is a photo of a bunch of people, idiots, in Perth, dressed up as redcoats or the British,
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Who tried to go into my ex-workplace and got booted out, and I've never been prouder to have worked there.
Excellent.
They were like,
It's like the people
no.
down in the South fucking flying the Confederate flag and going, "Oh, it's part of our history," that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was
Heritage,
fucking
not
racist.
hate.
Yeah.
I did love the headlines after that Capitol insurrection that was guy who broke into the Capitol waving Confederate flag has predictably surrendered. He turned himself into the cops, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And
Hi, Megalich.
the QAnon shaman, that fucking
Oh.
wannabe Viking idiot.
That dickhead.
So many people saying that he was doing this on Christian values, and it's like his tattoos are pagan. He's very clear about being pagan. He also says that he traveled back in time to take care of the pedophiles. So maybe not a person to kind of say we're associated with.
He's not necessarily the most trustworthy person. I also want to go back to Musical Aviator asked me, did Morrison really say that? So I found a relevant article. What is this? This is from a year ago. Okay. So anniversary of Invasion Day has spurred the Morrison government to spend more than $60 million of taxpayer money to mark the colonisation of Australia with a series of events. Prime Minister announced last year he would use a chunk of the money to send a replica of Cook's HMS Endeavour to circumnavigate the country and host activities at each of its proposed 39 stops. The plan is something Scott Morrison said will help Australia better understand Captain Cook's historic voyage and rediscover the explorer because he gets a bit of a bad show. However, the circumnavigation does not align with what actually happened. The Endeavour never circumnavigated Australia.
Isn't there already a replica of it, the Young Endeavour Foundation or whatever it is, where they actually get a bunch of teens to sail a replica of the ship?
Yes, and that's cool.
I was one of
I've been
those
on the Young Endeavour.
I was one of those teens. That's how much of a nerd I was in high school.
So there we go.
And my dad was the captain.
He could have easily given them money to do it. Oh, actually, I believe they already... Isn't that what they do, though, Kirsten? They sail the coast and stop at his stops or something?
Yeah.
So, there's a group that already does it?
Yeah. When I used to live kind of on the other side of the bay, on the western side, I lived in Yarraville, and I could go down the water. Certain times of the year, the Young Endeavour would actually be there and would go on little cruises around Port Phillip Bay. It was fun when my kids were very little. So this was like 15 years ago.
That's cool. They would have loved
that.
that.
Was fun. It was absolutely fun. Yeah. For a laugh once, Mrs. Angry had a sort of Federation starship costume, and I wore it because we were going on the Enterprise, and so I showed up wearing Star Trek gear. I actually made a video of it for my YouTube channel, like my day on the Enterprise.
If Abigail was watching this right now, she's going to be cheering you on right now.
Yeah.
She's so very happy.
I've just rocked up wearing my Star Trek gear going, oh, I think I've made a terrible mistake. But yeah.
No, like I'm all for them doing this thing, like getting the Endeavour to circumnavigate Australia and all of that sort of stuff. I'm all for it. It's not that I'm against any like real form of celebration or anything like that. What I'm against is the romanticized, omitted facts. Hey, Abigail.
Hey, Abigail.
How you doing?
You talked about Star Trek.
Yes, I mentioned Star Trek and Abigail appeared.
Speaking of Star Trek.
Well,
she's vanished.
I believe her sound may not be working. I think that was the look on her face.
I think that sound is not working.
Provided that the education and of what Captain Cook was about, what the First Fleet was about, what Captain Arthur Phillip was about, and all of that, provided that it's not this omitted, romanticized version of history, provided that it's the real fucking deal, so that people truly understand why Indigenous Australians have a hard time with Australia Day.
Yeah. And hello again, Abigail. What's happening?
That's weird.
What's
Can hear
weird?
you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Abigail.
Oh well.
I don't believe she can hear us.
No.
Oh, hello. It finally
No, you
worked.
can hear it.
Hello.
We're back.
Yeah.
Hey.
Woohoo.
Hey.
Yeah.
So everything had frozen on the screen,
Oh.
and I was just like, "Huh? Well, what's going on?" So,
Oh.
hi. Someone mentioned Star Trek, and like my Andorian antennas just went, "What? And
Speaking of
It's
Star
like
Trek,
saying 80s names
speaking
every
of Star
time.
Trek,
it's finally possible to watch Below Decks legally in Australia.
hey,
Yay! Caught me by surprise.
Where is it possible?
Amazon Prime.
cool.
So
The
Prime
one they
Video.
don't have.
So
All right,
I tuned in to watch the God, now my brain just stopped working. The Expanse, and lo and behold, there's a little icon for Below Decks. I'm like, oh my God, Below Decks is on.
Okay. No,
both good,
about
both good TV series.
Sunbear says there's a worse zootonic disease yet to come.
Almost inevitably. And
What?
Sunbear
Yeah.
raises a
No.
good point. You talk to the experts, they are fucking paranoid, particularly about factory farming and particularly with poultry. Factory farming
And
of
wet
poultry
markets.
is their biggest. Oh, well, okay. Wet market sounds scary. All that means is a farmer's market that sells meat. What they are really worried about is factory farming, particularly of poultry, because that's mind-blowingly high. They shit themselves. You get these experts and they talk about, we are going to, one day an avian flu is going to come out that will just fucking wreak havoc. And they are very much of the opinion it's when, not if.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
There is a study out there from the WHO in concert with these guys saying that if we were to stop all factory farming now, we reduce the likelihood, but we wouldn't eliminate the possibility entirely because of how much factory farming we've been doing. And that's a fucking frightening concept.
Yeah. And there's always other things that can fucking get us as well.
Oh, this is stressing me out so much. I've got the eye twitch.
Oh, no.
The eye twitch. Is that a new Apple product?
Yes, Abigail. 10 points to Abigail.
I thought I was the one with the bad
10
jokes,
points to
Abigail.
Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was the one for the bad jokes, Abigail.
I'm just going to go and check on my dinner. I'll be right back.
All right.
No,
Tristan's checking on dinner. All right, fair enough.
No, Grasshopper, I'm bad for them too. Oh, good for
okay.
them.
As far as I've been able to tell, we all are. We are. If any of us ever see an opportunity for a terrible pun, it happens.
Absolutely. I'm not known much for the puns. I'm known for the really inappropriate jokes. So
Me and my mum once went back and forth with an entire conversation using just tree-based puns. It was the root. It was the root of the problem.
Wow. Oh, the root of the problem. Oh, no.
there is
Wow, I can't believe it.
Oh.
We're back in country on that one.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Eventually, we started to bow out.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you just
that pun's bite was worse than its bark.
Ooh.
We need to branch into other areas right now.
We do. We need to stick to what we're good at.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm done.
Reminds me
What
of a
on
night of
earth are
sitting
you
out.
drinking, Abigail?
Oh, it's just water. It's
Oh, okay. Sorry.
it's in a Soda Stream bottle.
Somehow it looked like a Hendrix gin bottle to me.
Oh, okay. No.
Speaking of which, I'm going to get some more.
No worries.
Yeah, why not?
I have new glasses, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
New reading glasses. I
I
can.
thought something looked different.
Yeah.
Yeah, my everyday glasses were that's these ones that you're used to.
Yep.
Yes, there's the ones we're used to.
Oh,
Wow,
that's gonna play havoc
this
with
is
your
dumb.
eyes.
Oh no, that's So with
Mistakes
these
are
glasses, I can actually read close to my face, but anything past like a meter is blurry and hard to focus on. With these glasses, I have to read about a meter from my face, and then everything past 2 meters is blurry and hard to focus on. So I've got a sweet.
No matter which way you go.
Yeah, I know. I've got a sweet spot about 1 meter and 2 meters without glasses. So.
No, it reminds me of the night where we sat out the backyard watching a storm roll in about 10 odd years ago. And there was me and 3 of our friends, and we just sat there all night cracking off puns about the storm. And it went on for hours, and it was just soul breaking by the end of it. It was great.
Wow.
Why do I get the feeling that would actually happen if all of us were in a room together?
I love a good pun.
Oh, hang on a second, guys. I just got a call on my mobile. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Sure.
That's okay. Oh my god! I just randomly
Well,
thought, what can I see? Sorry,
I'm late to the stream. Stream. How is everyone?
Oh, good.
I am.
Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Oh, look! Literally half the people are fucking indisposed.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And of the 3 that remain, 2 of us are introverts.
We all are to some degree, but
So what have you been up to, Abigail?
Not much. It is still hot in my apartment. It is currently 27 degrees in here.
At least it's cooling down overnight.
Yeah, well, only just.
Abigail,
can you open windows?
You're there.
I've got every window open, all the doors open. It's just that's how my apartment works.
Okay. I'm just looking. Oh, we're having another pretty mild week. Maybe getting as high as 29, but with a bit of rain all week. We dodged. Jesus, this summer Melbourne has dodged a bullet. Other places have been getting heat waves that last 4 or 5 days, and we often get that, but we haven't this summer. So I was like, sorry, you guys.
Yeah, we've only had a couple.
Yeah, the last Saturday, Sunday. Well, no, actually, I was super glad Saturday's weather was Saturday's weather and not Sundays, because I had to meet up with the YouTubers, and it was just pleasant. It was like mid to high 20s. Sunny, there was a breeze, it was like cool, and then Sunday sort of rockets up around 40 and Monday's up around 40. I would not have liked being sort of wandering around hanging out in the city if it was, and because the city's a bit of a heat sink, if it feels like it's about 40 and you're like,
yeah.
Although we did see these boats going down the Yarra, and I remembered someone had sent me a link to. There's these people who will just let you hire a very low-powered boat that you can have up to 9 people on. It's got an electric motor or something, and you can just tool up and down the Yarra for a couple of hours. Like you don't need a license, you don't need anything. The skipper is meant to stay sober, and but everyone else can. And there's supposedly limits on number of cans of beer or premix, and they say like, well, you can't have straight spirits on the boat. It's just like well, I can mix something like this and put it in a Powerade bottle, tell you it's Powerade.
One of my friends wants to chat with me, so I have to go.
All right, thanks for dropping in, Fox.
Okay,
have fun. Don't have too much fun without me.
Prosper.
Yeah. So I've watched about 8 episodes of Below Decks so far. Quite enjoying it. Mrs. Angry doesn't like it. She watched 2 episodes and didn't really get into it.
Oh, really? Bummer.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I think it reminds her too much of Rick and Morty, and she's.
It's written by the same guy who does Rick and Morty. It's
that would explain a lot. I mean,
literally the same guy. Yeah.
I have to admit, my single favorite thing about it is they don't talk like people in Star Trek shows, and that's hilarious because it's got really Star Trek-y stuff happening, but they're just talking like, "Oh, what you up to, man?" And it's like, the wackiness with actual very Star Trek-y stuff, I find very funny.
Yeah, and it is surprisingly, it surprisingly sticks to canon, and the amount of callbacks and references and Easter eggs is just the best. It's it's blink and you'll miss it moments for the hardcore Trekkies. It's just great. Okay, so it's written by Mike McMahon, who also did Rick and Morty and something called Solar Opposites. That was
never heard
on
of that.
Hulu. Sitcom. Justin Rowland and Mike McMahon.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's by the same. That's why it feels like Rick and Morty, because
the direct, the way they keep referencing, like they'll just reference Picard and Kirk and whatnot.
Yep.
I just find, and of course, if you were in Starfleet, you would talk about them all the time. The heroes of Starfleet.
Grasshopper, you're looking a bit different.
Nah, he's going to take a phone call, so he told me to take over. So until he gets.
Oh, cool. That's fine.
Okay.
That's all good. I think your microphone's a bit far from your mouth or something. Can't really hear you.
Yeah. Turn the gain up or something.
I was also pleased to see that Below Decks had their holodeck out of control episode as well. Which is one of my favorites.
Oh, geez, that was great.
The version of
I have a cup actually. Where is it? I think this is this is a Star Trek mug, but it's my motion picture mug.
All right. Yeah.
But I have. Okay, so there's a Facebook group I'm part of called Star Trek Shitposting. It's the best. It's really actually progressive, but also funny as heck. Funny as the proverbial. And we just it's a shitposting group, and we've adopted Badgie as our icon, as an icon. And I've got a mug with our logo, which has got Badgie on it, and for Star Trek shitposting, and the motto is seriously gross and morally bankrupt, because that was an insult someone threw at us for calling out their awfulness. The group just pounces on anyone who is right wing or a TERF or anything awful, and they're just on it, and it's just fun to see. Why the hell people like that watch Star Trek is beyond me. Haven't they actually watched it? But apparently a lot of people like that get into Star Trek because it's kind of like the military kind of vibe. They dig the structure. That's one explanation I've heard.
Yeah, they just want it all to stay in the mirror universe, I think.
They
want the fascist version of Star Trek.
Yes,
but it's kind of like
not the luxury gay space communism version.
No, but you see them going on social media, and whether they're talking about Disco or Picard or something, and they go, "Oh, why are they ruining Star Trek by putting all this SJW stuff in?" And I'm going,
"It's always been there."
Have you watched the show? And it's just the whole thing with the original Trek was people from every nation. And your dog is super cute, Nettie, by the way, in its little outfit.
Yeah, I have to admit that's pretty cute.
And look at it, it's showing off. It's so cute.
That is too cute.
On that same note, it's there's the left and right in every single sci-fi you see, and yet you don't understand where some of it comes from. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's I still think the worst one is when people go, "Oh, when did the SJWs decide they were going to ruin Doctor Who?" And I'm like, if the Doctor had a business card, it would say social justice warrior.
Literally.
does.
He's more than that. He's a social justice paladin.
Mm,
Yeah.
yes.
God. He's a god.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just does my
weird,
head in
yeah.
when they miss the most fundamental aspect of it. And it's kind of like, and they complain about Star Wars and the people behind Star Wars and you get that the Empire are Nazis, right? We call their soldiers stormtroopers.
Yes.
Grasshopper, you've changed.
I literally just made that joke before.
I've taken charge for a bit.
I just looked, I just saw it, and I went, "Oh, that's a different Grasshopper."
I've been meaning to jump in the live stream on my own account, but it's like, I gotta get a webcam and.
That's okay. You just hang out in Shannon's place. That's fine.
Oh, it's painful, especially being in the room because the live stream and Hughes talking is about a good 20 to 30-second delay. So I'm hearing Shannon's half of the conversation 30 seconds.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like,
yep.
Oh,
that would be weird.
That's frustrating. Yeah.
It would be fine if I could just mute him alone on the live stream, and then it doesn't work that way.
Or just anyone in life, really.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not going near that Black Mirror episode. Nah.
Yeah.
No.
That was a great Black Mirror episode.
Yeah. That was like a joke I've made with people online, like, oh no, I've got a block button in real life. It's on the bottom of my boot. Come over here and I'll show it to you. And it's just
yeah. Abigail will agree with me. The amount of people who would do that too. The list is very extensive. It's a bit like at the shops today, right? So it's Australia Day, so it's either there's nothing wrong with Australia Day or there is problems with Australia Day. Whichever side that depends on, that's your own business. Read a damn history book, would you? But it's just the amount of people that are just seemingly rude for no reason at all.
Just waving hi to Toby.
Hello.
Suddenly a wild Toby appeared.
Hello, everyone.
I can barely hear you there, by the way. Grasshopper.
Your name. Sorry, get on the Grasshopper.
It's Lena.
Lena,
yeah,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I don't know what the sensitivity is on his microphone. All I know is he's loud.
Yeah, I think you're speaking more quietly than Shannon does, quite honestly.
He must shout constantly if that's the gain on his microphone. He must be like always.
I'm a very noisy human having ADHD. I could scream at you constantly and not notice because I'm also partly deaf. But I'm trying to be quiet because there's people I don't know.
That's fair.
Yep.
How's your day going, Toby, by the way?
Oh, yeah, pretty good.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah, good.
We're all good. A bit warm up your part of the world. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm trying to find if anything else has happened. What else do we have to talk about?
There's the fact that for some obscure reason, the right-wing news in America is already blaming Biden for over 4,000 deaths in a single day or some crap like that. I saw on Facebook.
What?
I'm like, come on.
Oh, of course they are.
No, we can't be saying, of course. We can't be saying, of course. We can't accept that this is the point that we've got to. It's not acceptable.
No, I agree. It's not acceptable.
It's unacceptable. It's not so much that we can't accept it. It's more the point that we've become numb to it because it's become such a predictable pattern of behavior for them.
Yeah. And it's hard to expand one's mind, so your frame of reference to take it in, and also be able to zoom back down to the very real perspective of how many was it? 4,000 people died today.
That's about the death rate they've been getting.
Yeah,
that's horrifying.
4,000 families have lost someone and in one day, and then it's going to happen again to another 4,000 people tomorrow.
Yep. It's going to get worse before it gets
each
better.
one.
See, this is going to sound really weird, but I hated the Trump administration, but I also thank him because he's the first president ever I've actually given a shit about American politics. So I'm like, what the fuck has he done now?
Fair.
Well, yeah, there's one good thing. He's gotten a lot of people engaged.
Yeah.
People have certainly started to actually take a proper look at politics because of his absolute stupidity.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. Biden got more votes than any presidential candidate in history because people got super fucking motivated to go out and vote.
Don't talk to me about the damn election. I don't know if Grass has told you or not, but I'm the one with the conspiracy nut of a father.
Oh,
no. And there is nothing I haven't heard. Like my dad, without a shadow of a doubt, is an avid Trump supporter.
Yeah, my son's other parent is a QAnon person.
Oh no! Oh
yeah,
it's
really? The worst. Like full on. Yeah.
So is my old man, so I feel his pain.
Yeah, every time Wilk gets home from her place, he has new stories to tell of bullshittery and yeah, it's just the worst.
Well, at least you're not in America, and your son's getting a really good set of stories of his adolescence. And they'll be great all through his 20s. He'll be dining out on it.
I'd rather he weren't exposed to any of that bullshit.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah, I can understand. But think of it. Look, this is what my thesis was on. I did the 1990s conspiracy theories of David Koresh and the New World Order, and I always forget the third one.
Why did you have to mention the New World Order?
Because it's everywhere. I could not do it. And I was going to do.
Who you're talking about there?
Nettie, do you know the term Agenda 21?
Is this new? Agenda 21.
Agenda 21 is the New World Order's inaction plan to depopulate the planet to the point where the population can fit inside the massive New Zealand, where the elites rule and they can mine the planet for its resources.
Okay, yeah. I've heard that story before. I just don't know the name.
I've got some crackers if you're willing to listen. I've got some absolute cracking conspiracy.
I'm sure you do. I know. The thing was that, when I decided to do conspiracy theories for my undergrad thesis, it was like many years before it had really hit in Australia. And the first I'd heard of it was a friend of mine was working for the ABC, and he answered the phones and for Radio National. And he answered the phones and he responded to correspondence. And so they started turning up in the correspondence, and he started researching it on the internet. Like, what on earth are these people on about? They all had the same energy, shall we say, and the same structure to their stories. And so that's how I got interested in it. But I had no idea just how long and far and complicated the rabbit warren gets, the rabbit hole into Wonderland. It's just incredible. Yeah. Timothy McVeigh, that was the other one.
It goes from Bush did 9/11 to lizard people run the world, and there is no in between. It's like from 0 to 100 in a bloody instant. It's amazing to know.
The internet has certainly super fueled it,
Absolutely.
But America is not the only place that does it. There's in Indonesia, there's people think that people have a problem with ninjas. Not Jews. Not. They have a problem with ninjas. And if they think you're a ninja, you're a dead man. And I do mean that literally. They will kill you.
Damn.
It is actually witch hunting. It is actually witch hunting.
But the scariest
Wow.
part is you get those complete zealots that, like my father, like the people in Indonesia, like QAnon and all that, is no matter how much scientific or factual evidence you give them, they are so steadfast in their ways and they just dig in harder.
Yeah.
Like I'm terrified of the day that my father meets Grasshopper in real life. Like they have not met yet, and I'm so glad that hasn't happened because my
that would be scary.
It would either end up in a fist fight or an ambulance. One of the two, like hands down.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, you can think of it. The approach that I took in my thesis was that it's a religion. The conviction is very similar. The sacrificing of their own good, what's good for themselves, is similar to, how people respond to religion. And putting emotional truth before plain cold logic truth, that's similar. And you could say that they are looking for spiritual healing while under enormous stress of various types. But they've chosen the wrong one. Or they're being manipulated. You could say that, in some circumstances, they're being manipulated by, pretty awful people like Alex Jones, from Prison Power Planet and all that.
My father believes the shit that comes out of that man's mouth is gospel. Like,
oh my God.
Send him to church. It's churches aren't all great, but it doesn't do what this does. People are in need of something to help their emotions when they're under enormous stress. And I take it that your father might be under some kind of stress.
No, my father's been a pot smoker since he was 14. He
right.
Went
So
off the Narnia a while ago and didn't come back.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it would be safer for him to be churching.
Oh yeah.
Than I know that we've got some pretty seriously anti-church people here, and I can understand why. But it's safer, and because in a mainstream church, not the loopy ones, not the fringe ones. Yeah, they're aware of the group psychology and the manipulations and the strange sleight of hand that can happen in a cult, and they don't want people who are truly, mentally ill or have a brain injury to be exploited. They want to look after them. Most of them do. And there is some being held to account if that happens.
Yeah, no, I must admit it's rather interesting how dangerous the age of technology is. Like I'm 26, so I grew up in it, and it's amazing the grey blob of stupid that's amassed on the internet that just seems to attract people constantly.
I'm gonna call it that now. The great blob of stupid.
Yeah,
that's its name. That's its name now.
Yeah, because I derive it off the the apocalypse theory of the nanite grey goo that keeps replicating itself till it swarms the world, and that's pretty much what conspiracy theorists are like. Is they seem to somehow multiply just out of thin air.
Out of fat air.
Yeah. When I was doing the WikiLeaks stuff, I noticed that there was a certain appeal for people, the burnt out hippies, people who had smoked too much pot and had gotten paranoid as a way of life, to gravitate towards it. And they often became, what do they call it? Libertarians. They were also libertarians. So it was kind of like, if I want to do it, I should. Nah. And they were slightly pesky, but mostly harmless at the time. But I can see them going to the right wing just as easily as they fell towards the left and the anarchist part of WikiLeaks that was there at the time. And you can see Julian Assange has done the same thing. He's fallen over to the right-hand side rather than the left again.
But you've got all these like literal Nimbin hippies and health food people. The first thing they tend to fall for is anti-vaccine bullshit. And then there are predators who go for the anti-vaccine crowd and try and get them in on other right-wing shit. And you end up with people like, Pete Evans, who started off as, he's a chef and saying dumb shit about activated almonds. And it's like, okay, whatever, I can excuse that. And now he's a fucking Nazi. He's a literal fucking Nazi. And it's like, my God.
Sorry. It just reminds me of what I saw on Facebook of him holding up his newest cookbook, which is called My Comfort Food. It's like,
internet humor, brutal.
That's good.
Doesn't that make a great noise? It's a little bit of ASMR.
I was about to say that. Yeah, it's funny it's funny how there are an awful lot of well-to-do women my age, maybe a little bit younger, who are really swept up in the anti-vax thing. Yeah. And I used to think at first, well, I think they're scared of doctors. I think they're scared of technology.
Yeah.
And
you can see that, right? It is a true thing to say pharmaceutical companies can be evil. It is a true thing to say doctors can be very dismissive of women. And then they just leap to, therefore, everything produced by pharmaceutical companies and everything that doctors say is a lie, and go, no, you've gone too far. It's like, but you can see where it starts. Yes. Mistrust of pharmaceutical companies makes sense. Doctors are assholes. Yes. But then they just dive off this huge cliff, and every proven medical procedure is a fraud, and only my crystals can save you. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Crystals are pretty, but
Kirsten's got food. Nice. Gonna have dinner.
She's gonna eat in private.
Not gonna let us watch her eat. Okay. There are special websites for that. Watching women eat. They really are.
I don't think it's a fetish, but like anytime I see a woman eat, I'm like, she's grown in attractiveness eating that. And one time I was sitting next to someone and she just she had a jam donut, and she just went and stuffed it all in there. And I'm like, holy crap. And I ended up dating her 6 months later. And it was that moment. It's weird, I know, but
I set up an OnlyFans to watch me eat, because I seem to eat all the time. So why not make it profitable?
There's gold in them hills. But it's like in South Korea about 5 years ago, the concept of mukbang took off, which is watching someone else eat. and it was and the most popular mukbang channels were women, and young, pretty women. And it wasn't limited to that, but that was the most popular ones. And it was partly, from what I read, South Korean culture is everyone's really isolated in the big cities and there's no interaction. So like what we're doing here, it is a form of interaction. And for a lot of people, they feel like it was the only interaction they were getting. Like they felt like they were having dinner with someone. But some of them, there's this obvious sexual element. Even when the woman doesn't do anything sexy with food, the popular ones is when the woman's got like 10 courses. There's 10 different bowls of food, and she picks them up and goes, num, 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 num. They're the ones that literally millions of people watch. And there's this obvious fetishization going on, which I'm on board for. That's one of the most innocuous fetishes I can think of.
It is. God,
I just like watching people eat. Okay, cool. My friend Corey, old school YouTuber, one of the first professional YouTubers.
Oh, Mr. Safety.
Mr.
Or whatever
Safety.
his name. Yeah.
He posted a thing on Facebook the other day. He said, just for a laugh, he goes, I get these all the time. Here's the latest. And also because Corey has really big feet. And if you have any sort of profile online, at some point, foot fetishists come after you and want to see your feet. And this email Corey shared was incredibly specific. Like, didn't just was going to pay for videos of his feet. And my favorite bit was the thing they'd pay most for is if he like stomped a puddle of mayonnaise and said the person's name while he was doing it. Which I just thought, that's incredibly specific. I love it that you know exactly what you want. You want this big foot squelching sloppy stuff and saying your name. And it's like, yeah.
People pay.
God, there are so many academic papers in that.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have friends that make serious money on just doing weird shit like that. Like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm in lockdown. If I get to stomp mayonnaise for $500, I stomp mayonnaise for $500.
Oh,
I love it.
To each their own.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting anyone.
Of course, that saying has a line where it stops being to each their own to, you need to go see someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there though? I mean, I guess if you're like eating poop, then yeah.
That's, I think, so long as it doesn't involve animals, children, or poop, I think and it's with full consent, I think you're fine.
Seems about right.
Yeah.
Seems about right. Yeah.
Maybe blood is a really bad. There are people who are into blood.
Oh yeah.
Just from a disease point of view, blood seems like a bad idea.
Oh bloody! Actually, being Lena, not Grasshopper. Maybe you know Morpheus. Do you know Morpheus?
The Sandman.
Are we talking about the vampire Morpheus that happens to go to God?
Oh, jeez.
Him.
Wow.
So my partner Volpe, she was in the goth scene. I've never actually been to the city myself. I grew out here in Hicksville. I've heard many a story of thy Morpheus.
Maybe we should get him on the live stream one day.
Please no. From what I've heard, I probably would sink under this table and be like, I'm not coming out to this god.
Oh no!
Is Grasshopper there? Yeah. What happened to Grasshopper?
He got a phone call and he buggered off.
Oh well.
Okay.
I'm glad you're here to
when he
keep
comes back, we'll ask him if he can invite Morpheus onto the stream.
Oh no.
Has he ever he told me a story? Has he ever told you the story of what he did to Morpheus one day as a guard?
Oh no.
Maybe. I don't know.
think
Tell me.
he did.
It might have been
At
an
some
after
point.
party story.
Yeah, maybe, but no. If you're still on when he comes back, be sure to remind him to tell you because it's an absolute crack up. Like
Okay.
I was just sitting there like, oh wow, because in true Strauss fashion, he gave no shits.
Morpheus, when I knew him, which was 20 years ago, I always felt a little bit protective of him because I was worried that he was just a bit a little bit intellectually impaired and people were just picking on him and telling nasty stories about him because they just felt really weird around him all the time and they didn't understand what it was that was provoking it. But then I heard other stories, from a person that I do respect and who would not bitch and bullshit. And I was like, no, Morpheus is a fully working intellectually, and he's not really a victim. So, yeah. Having a laugh at Morpheus, it always makes me feel a little bit awkward, but at the same time, oh my god, he's funny.
Like because the persona that is Morpheus is I really want to meet just out of sheer blatant curiosity from everything I've heard. But at the same time, from what I've heard from multiple people, I really don't want to meet him at the same time.
Well, an awful lot of water has gone under the bridge in 20 years, who knows what he's like now. I remember when he was younger, he was in his mid-20s, I think. So he was still doing, young, dumb shit. And it could be...
Stopped.
Well, that's the thing. It should stop.
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah, growing up is meant to be a thing.
Yeah. Certainly by 30, people should be grown up. Should have some amount of shit together.
I don't want to.
I refuse. Hi.
What were you eating, Kirsten?
Sticky chicken and rice with broccolini and spinach.
Ooh, nice.
Have you finished?
Yes. And I have enough for lunch tomorrow and dinner tomorrow, so don't have to worry about that.
Cool.
Stella's undies are still clean, she says.
Well,
yes, that's a relief. Although, if she ever comes to Melbourne, maybe and we hang out, I could change that.
Hey.
Everyone's got ambitions.
Hey, Nettie, you asked earlier about Davidson's plum. I don't have any other examples. I have this one, which is Illawarra plum. It's not the same.
Okay.
So this is Headlands Distilling Company, Dougall.
Headlands Distilling Company.
I'm
having a little trouble with my words tonight.
And Davidson's plum. Actually, no, I think this is actually Slowberries. Yeah,
Slowberries.
Slow. Patient Wolf
That's not Australian.
Yeah.
I've lost
they're Slowberries harvested from Tasmania.
Okay.
Patient Wolf Black.
Okay.
For a
that's Patient Wolf.
Oh, Stella.
Stella thinks she'll just forego the
for a moment there, Kirsten, I thought you said it's harvested from Tasmanians.
Yeah.
Well, next year is Soylent Green year.
Yeah.
Next year is what now?
Soylent Green year, apparently, according to something I got off the internet.
Oh, okay. Soylent.
There you go.
I
If you
didn't
look
know
at
it
all
was
the
a year. But...
timelines of sci-fi movies,
It's
we're just
made of people.
It's Made of People is next year.
Yeah.
2022.
I just love the bit that doesn't get all the publicity from Soylent Green is like when you decide it's time to die, you can just go to the place and they'll put you on a bed with a slow drip of a drug in your arm, and you can have the music and the visuals you want to go out to. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was. And didn't he get a meal, a decent meal as well?
Yeah, no. Going out was a big event. Like to make it good, you go out happy. You get to choose the music, you get to choose the visuals, and just a slow drip of a drug that puts you under, and you go out happy.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Do you
Yeah,
get
I
some
can get behind that.
1989 ecstasy?
Is that what you think the best ecstasy was? Kirsten, do you know if the
Kirsten, there's some flesh in front of the. Oh, right. It looked like a leg.
Is the
I can't
Applewood?
hear you.
Oh, okay. Is the Applewood Davidson Plum? Is that like there's slow gin? Because I've got the Brookie's slow gin, which is made with Davidson Plum. Is that what the Applewood one is too, or is it just a gin that's flavored with Davidson Plum?
I think they distilled the Davidson Plum. They didn't macerate.
Yeah, because the other Aussie version of like a slow gin I got was
literally it's a
Davidson Plum's
50-50
nice
toss
too.
up between Patient Wolf Blackthorn and Brookie's.
Right. And I got Anther's cherry gin because it was really good, and it's in the style of a slow gin because it's lower alcohol content, but it was really tasty. When we did the trip out Geelong way, the two I picked up, and it was just because it was the most different. Like we did a tasting at Anther, and it was all good, but their cherry gin was the most different to anything I already had, and at the Bellarine distillery, their Teddy and the Fox, which it's really citrus forward. It was the most different of theirs, so I got that one. But so that's kind of, I guess, my driver for buying things like that now, if it's the most different from something I already have. But yeah. But I'm looking forward to. So I don't know, Nettie and Abigail, if you were even here when I was in text. Kirsten was just on text. Has done a group booking for Patient Wolf, and
cool.
is working Friday week. The 12th.
Yeah, Friday the 12th.
And is working
Friday
on.
12th.
So I'm definitely getting something when we're out because it wouldn't be a trip if I didn't get something.
What
but
time is Patient
Wolf?
I'll send you all the
3?
details.
5 o'clock. Okay. And how much do we owe? Oh, we don't have to talk about this on live stream, I guess.
Yeah, we can do that in a group chat.
I don't pay for tours. So none of my friends pay for tours either.
And that's why we're going with
You're my best friend.
That's why we're going with I noticed another one. If we want an outing in your neck of the woods, Nettie and Abigail, bloody Brogan's Way are doing their cellar dooring stuff, doing tastings and whatnot again now. And that's like right in your neighborhood. And their stuff is good. Like
So
Nettie
what should I put this in as? Gin tour? No, it's gin and whiskey tour.
I'm putting
isn't it?
distillery tour.
Yeah.
Distillery tour.
And Anther is gin and Starwood is whiskey. Yeah. So
distillery tour.
But
it's just after I get paid as well. Oh, I'm gonna get so drunk.
Well, I was just thinking because Nettie was screaming of having to get out of the house. You know, I was thinking, well, I could be convinced to have another outing to the Bitters Lab or whatever, but because Brogan's Way is in that neighborhood as well, and they just, I got an email from them that they just started, you know, tastings and cellar door type stuff. That could
definitely go and see them, and go and see Ben Ogden, who is the bar manager there, and he's adorable.
Okay.
Is he single?
Cool.
Sorry, I didn't say that.
Mention Henry's live stream.
Yes.
You'll probably get really well treated.
Yeah. Oh, God, and he started this week. I didn't even realize. I was like watching TV last night, and before going to bed, I checked messages and stuff. And on
He's
Facebook,
doing one a month. It's not the same.
Oh, one a month. Jesus.
And
okay.
he did not do any of the words. He was dropping words left, right, and center. We were calling him in the comments, and he was just ignoring us.
He's flouting the forbidden words.
He said turpentinistic.
Okay, that may not have been a word before, but it sure should be.
That word went right into the Google Doc. The great thing about the Google Doc is that it's linked to my personal Gmail. It had nothing to do with the work computer that I had to give back.
Well, that's good. Oh my God.
I found that someone in my family history today. I mean, no, it didn't happen to him today because it happened in 1848 or something.
Okay.
But he was found in a room full of naughty people with rags and a lot of turpentine. And so he got arrested for sedition and riot. How cool is that?
Wow.
He was a Chartist. He was a Chartist.
I saw you post something about that. Yeah. Yeah. It was going to cause trouble.
I mean, they didn't have he could have just been hanging out with his mates who happened to be making bombs. But, you know, it's Victorian England. You just round them all up and throw them in the clink. And he was only there for 2 years, which was pretty good. You know, I mean, considering. And then he was supposed to be, he was on a good behaviour bond for 5 years after that. And then, I think he broke it because he ended up on a convicts list in Western Australia, which would suck. But, yeah. And then he got a good obituary for living until 101. So, like,
oh, wow.
Fuck you, Britain. You know?
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
101 after 2 years in a British jail for sedition. That's pretty good, I reckon.
That is a good one.
That is a pretty good effort.
Yeah. And he had his own company. I think he did quite well once he got out of that awful place up there in the north.
Yeah.
What have you got there, Kirsten? What was that you were showing us?
Backwoods Distilling from Yakandanda, single malt whiskey. Is this batch one? Yes, this is batch one. Because I'm boozy and I drink all my batch ones.
Yeah. I think I've actually started dreaming about distillery visits. I'm sure I woke up going, man, I think I had a dream about having a really good whiskey. That's a troubling sign.
Look at what my shirt says. Past strength hangover.
Oh, nice.
I have found that I am drinking
a
bit too
sign.
much these days.
I probably
I've been trying to moderate, had a couple days off. Even I was pretty impressed with myself on Sunday night's stream. I didn't actually drink alcohol, and streams tend to lead me astray a little bit in terms of drinking alcohol. But I did a whole stream without drinking alcohol, then didn't do any on Monday night. So I'm quite confident in my ability to take days off. So that's cool. But yes, having a dream about drinking a particularly nice whiskey from a distillery is possibly a warning sign. I don't know.
I got Galliano
I don't think so.
Amaretto this week.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
sorry, who did I just cut off? It was a Kirsten?
No, Kirsten was just saying she doesn't think there's anything wrong with my whiskey dream.
Oh. Yeah, I got Galliano because when I was little, I used to go to this place called the Brown Musket. It was a French restaurant, and I always had the prawn cocktail because it was the 70s and early 80s.
Yes.
And they always had this big thing of Galliano. And I wanted
How
to
big was
taste
it?
what it was.
Probably a couple liters. Venues used to have these giant bottles of Galliano.
That's pretty big.
But in an unusual shape. And so I got a little one in an unusual shape, full of amaretto. And boy, that tastes like wedding cake.
Yeah, like almond. Yes, it tastes like tastes like what's that icing on wedding cakes called?
Icing.
Royal icing.
Marzipan. Yes. No. Yeah. It tastes like marzipan. Yes.
Have you ever? It always makes me think. Did you ever watch The Thick of It?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One of his best lines was, "As useful as a marzipan dildo."
I don't know. I can see that being a bit of an adventure myself, but
I don't know about the marzipan dildo. Where did it come from? Where did it go?
that would be the question. Where did it go? Because it would vanish.
All right, changing places.
How useful was it?
Yeah. Oh dear. I always thought it was so funny that, when he got cast as Doctor Who, because he was most famous for being this incredibly foul-mouthed character, and then was going to be on this comparatively family-friendly show. It was a funny little clip.
Did you ever see the one on the video on YouTube? The new Doctor Who likes to swear, and it was all of his swearing throughout the thick of it. And especially the Doctor Who references. He did Doctor Who references in that show.
Yes, there were Doctor Who references in it. Yes, yeah.
I'm Doctor Who, right?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
I actually. Hey, Beck.
Hey, Grasshopper.
Sorry.
I did a video when just before Peter Capaldi was announced as the Doctor, because about 2 days before the formal announcement, there was a stories that all the bookmakers in England had stopped accepting bets because there was this massive plunge on Peter Capaldi, like the word had leaked that it was going to be Peter Capaldi. And I thought, okay, bookies know what they're talking about. So about 2 days before the announcement, I made a video saying, I know who the new Doctor Who is. And I'll say, I'll give you some hints. He's older than a lot of the other ones have been. He's not English, and everyone thinks he swears a lot. And I was like, no, it's not me. It's not me. It's it's Peter Capaldi. And because I had that video up and it had been there for 48 hours, when the news became, and I did put some thick of it clips in there of him swearing. When the news went live, Peter Capaldi Doctor Who, people went on YouTube searching Peter Capaldi Doctor Who, and my video was showing up. So I got like tens of thousands of extra views because I correctly predicted that Peter Capaldi would be Doctor Who. Yeah.
I remember when Jodie Whittaker took over the role of Doctor Who. There was a bit of a furor amongst all of the fans of the show about, being a female doctor and, oh my God, there's now and all of this sort of stuff. But the main thing that they tried to say that she was a bad fit for Doctor Who was because of some TV show that she had done decades beforehand, where apparently she had her boobs out in that show.
Oh no!
Scandalous.
And my response to them all was, if she did the entire show topless, that's just going to bring more viewers in. So shut up. Like,
my biggest problem with Jodie Whittaker is the accent, that strong Welsh accent. That like she could not get rid of it. They tried. She just can't do any other accent.
trying to explain to people that Hugh Laurie is actually English and has a strong English accent where the only thing they've ever watched is House. And it's like, no,
my
he's
God.
actually English, you know?
It's not just that he's English, it's that he did a lot of silly comedy where he was regularly incredibly foppish. I had so much fun with Americans who only knew him from House, and I would show them either bits from Fry and Laurie or from Blackadder, where he's being incredibly foppish, and their brains would break.
King George.
It would absolutely do their heads in.
I love sending people the link of his and Stephen Fry doing the song "Kickin' Ass." If you've never seen it, Google it. It's absolutely hilarious. And people's minds would break not only in that he was doing this foppish comedy song, but the way that Stephen Fry did the redneck accent in the song as well. It would just melt people's brains. And to top it off, it's a funny song. But on that same token, if you haven't heard of it, if you haven't heard it or heard of it, he's Hugh Laurie after House has released 2 jazz albums and blues albums, and they are fucking fantastic.
He's a talented musician. Yeah,
he really is. I've got both of the albums in my playlist. They're absolutely fantastic. Can't recommend them highly enough.
I enjoyed, like, a few years ago, around about 10 years ago, the digital activists from America that I sort of gathered with. I loved breaking their brain by showing them Eric Bana as Poiter.
Poiter.
Yes. That's also pretty good.
I love also breaking. I love breaking younger people's minds who have watched Lord of the Rings and absolutely loving it, and showing them Meet the Feebles and going, same director.
Yeah.
Or some of his schlock horror.
Yeah, no, that's true. Peter Jackson actually did Meet the Feebles before he did Lord of the Rings.
Really?
And I've just broken Leader's mind.
Yeah. And the really gory sci-fi ones, Bad Taste and
Bad Taste and Good Burger.
There was another one I've got them on disc, I think. It's just like I saw them in independent cinemas in the 90s, and it's just like, this guy's really funny. And then it's like, what do you mean he's doing Lord of the Rings? That guy is nuts.
When I first heard that Lord of the Rings was like,
It's the first thing I thought of.
I didn't know anything about the books when I first heard of the movie. I sat there talking to a friend of mine who was a huge fan of the books, and he told me, like, that these books are this massive, thing and all of that sort of stuff, and this first movie is the first movie based on the books. And I'm like, but it's the director that did Meet the Feebles. How? And not being a fan of the books and not really knowing anything of the mythology, I needed to watch the first movie, not because I wanted to see the movie, but because I needed to see if it was going to be like a complete, very much opposite of what he'd ever done before. And it absolutely blew my mind. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I had a hard time imagining someone doing it better, essentially. But I guess the hint that he could be better was he did that film Beautiful Creatures, which had really interesting, fantastical elements. And I love his Ghost movie with Michael J. Fox in it.
I didn't know there was that.
I need to look it up because my brain's not working. Peter. I'm
getting a refill.
Jackson, Michael J. The Frighteners. That's what it's called. From 1996. I think that was the last thing he did before The Lord of the Rings. It is a really good supernatural ghost film. Michael J. Fox's character can see the dead, basicing, and has turned it into a scam. Like he scams people with ghosts. I'm going to cure you from this haunting. The ghosts are actually his friends who he's got to go there, and he makes money by making them stop moving things in people's houses. But then, of course, something very dark happens. Like the ghost of a very dangerous serial killer appears and whatnot. And but it's good. It's a really good sort of supernatural.
It would seem that
ghost
Stella
movie.
is also a huge fan.
Stella's
made a few comments there. Yeah,
Frighteners, yep.
Yeah. The Frighteners is very good. But yeah, it's just kind of fun that he did this one with Michael J. Fox and whatnot. But yeah, it was a big surprise that he could do something on the scale of the Lord of the Rings. That was absolutely groundbreaking.
Is anybody here a fan of the books of the Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Okay.
Did you miss that entire live stream that was just these two going absolutely wild for it?
I probably wasn't here for that one. Okay, cool. So
it was Tolkien's birthday live stream. It was pretty much just me and Angry.
Thank you for subscribing to Tolkien Facts.
Yeah, Tolkien Facts. Yes.
Okay. So what I've heard is that the Hobbit movies weren't very good in comparison to the books.
They were a shameless cash grab. They were an absolutely shameless cash grab. He's very much undermined his legacy by making those.
Right. Okay. All right. Well,
he didn't particularly like the final product, to be fair. He kind of just went through the motions.
Fair enough. Okay.
To make those movies.
The Lord of the Rings.
Sorry.
The Lord of the Rings needed to be 3 movies because it's a very long book. The Hobbit needed to be
Hobbit's a short story, basically.
It needed to be 1 film, and they shamelessly milked it for all they could with 3 films. So it was literally well over 50% filler. And
it was all filler from the appendices from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a very tiny amount of that was worthwhile.
I heard through the grapevine from my friends and that like, you know, some of the stuff in the books was left out of the movies, and you know, it wasn't really true to this part or that part, but it was still pretty enjoyable, blah blah blah. But when it comes to the Hobbit movies, they're just like, and that was just horrible from beginning to end. That was just horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to take their word for it. It's not.
There is a cut. There's a super cut of The Hobbit called the Tolkien edit, which is basically they cut it to be more faithful to the book, and it's 1 movie.
Okay.
It's a long movie, but it's
The Hobbit.
No, The Hobbit. It's called the Tolkien edit of The Hobbit. So yeah, it's a lot more faithful to the story.
I mean, for me, it was similar with Game of Thrones. I tried to read the books related to Game of Thrones, but they just didn't grab me. But the series I really enjoyed. But like I did the same thing with Harry Potter. I'd never read any of the Harry Potter books before the movies hit, and I enjoyed the movies. And I made the absolute decision to watch the movies before I read the books, because the books are always better, always. And I didn't want the movies ruined for me. I wanted to have that sense of surprise and not know what was going on and enjoy them for what they were. So I tried to do the same thing with Game of Thrones. The books just didn't grab me. Where Lord of the Rings is concerned, I just know that it's a genre that I'm not into. So it's great to ask questions of people who are huge fans, such as yourself and Angry. But for me personally, like my reading list is that long anyway, that adding them into it would just be a bit much. But it's just not a genre that I'm really into as a general rule.
Fair enough.
But
I guess we can forgive you for that. I played way too much D&D and read Lord of the Rings in high school to not be a fan of the genre.
My barbarian got killed at my last D&D session.
Oh no!
Yeah, no.
Oh,
yeah, no.
What level?
He was only level 7.
Okay.
But he had done some amazingly good things and some amazingly stupid things. And that's
so a barbarian then.
Yeah, he's a barbarian.
Yeah.
Actually, he was referred to as a smartarian because my intelligence modifier was off the charts for some reason.
Okay.
I won't go down the whole story, but either way, when he got knocked down with such force that it actually took 2 death saving throws from my character, and I had to roll a third one. My death saving throw needed to be an 8. I rolled a 3.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
So he's dead. So now I'm playing a new character that I've never played before. I'm playing a monk, and it's a tabaxi character, which are like cat-like
Flurry
humanoids.
of blows.
Yeah, so everybody in my party keeps on referring to me as Mittens now.
Mittens.
Yeah. And
all
if
right,
Lee
Nettie's back.
referring to it as Mittens, I'm going to punch her.
I was just waiting for Nettie to come back to say goodbye because I'm going to go to bed now because it is, in fact, after 10 o'clock. And I got to get up for work tomorrow.
Thank you for making it Angry Bunch. Sorry that I had to leave. It was an important call, though.
Yeah, but that's okay. We had fun.
We forgive you.
I was also thinking, Nettie
It
and
was nice
Abigail,
to chat to Lena.
if you want to get out of the house, we could maybe catch up on Saturday afternoon or something, or Saturday lunch or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
All right. Well, let's
yes.
we had that chat thing set up. We'll do that anyway. So I'm gonna go to
Long
bed.
and prosper, everyone. Good night,
night,
Stella.
Good night.
Good night, Megalich.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.